Hello and welcome to the Pulse. Chelsea won, Manchester United won. Let's get the hashtag straight in, which is smash and grab, because it feels a little bit like that, doesn't it, Pat? You're on commentary duties for us, mate. Yeah.
And it hurts because we're doing a commentary all the way through a game saying, look, this is the way United used to play during lockdown. They just sat deep and they've got a bit of pace and they've got a bit of quality when they go for... No, they didn't have quality. They had a bit of luck. That's what they had. And there was something I said during the first half. Their play from the back is like rugby. And it was kind of half tongue-in-cheek. No, the goal was rugby. It was a big up and under. And just Jorginho's... He's believed in himself too much for that moment. And it's the second time it's happened. Remember, it was against Arsenal and Kanté got caught in a difficult position.
Martinelli, didn't he?
But we're brave that way. We'll just try and go for it. Would have been absolute... I mean, it's a travesty enough we didn't win. But what a travesty how we not got a point.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Sam, isn't it? You know, it's disappointing because, you know, we feel we've dropped 2 points. But I think that shows how far we've come. And also it shows that Manchester United came with a game plan of, like Pat said, you sit deep, you hope for something more than anything else, because in reality, first half, they were passengers. Like, I mean, you look at the match stats, you know, and then obviously, you know, we're going to be slightly biased towards a Chelsea fan, and Chelsea fans try and not get overexcited or a little bit too much onto it. But the facts and stats tell you everything. You know, it's the one goal that they've scored is from a mistake. Other than that, they're not really threatened. So it's a great point for them, because that's what the game plan's come to. And unfortunately, that's football. You know, sometimes you have to go, it's not what you want, but you take your hat off to them because that's what they've come for and that's what they've got.
And that's the thing. It's so annoying because we're so dominant. We're used to our team being so good defensively. When we do make a mistake, it's like shock. We're so shocked, but at the end of the day, it's football. Sometimes that happens. The one thing that you can take away is the fact that Jorginho still had the courage to step up and take the penalty and put it away so emphatically as well. But that's the only way United were ever going to get anything from this game, because, like Pat said, they didn't deserve anything. They were literally... They didn't know, you could see it in the game, they didn't know what to do. They were just hitting and hoping something would happen. And even when they saw the ball so high up, it's like you saw Sancho and Rashford said, we might be able to get something from it. And then I think that maybe put Jorginho off a little bit, because that touch from that high up in that position, you can say now in hindsight, maybe he should have even let it bounce or head it. But yeah, he backed himself, and unfortunately, we conceded from it.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Let's get some reaction from the fans outside then.
To be honest, I expected a draw, but I did think I was hoping we were going to win. But I just had that feeling with United changing managers, the players all galvanised, we might struggle at home, you know.
I don't think United really impressed me either, to be honest. They turned up looking for a 0-0. They almost got it, but then they nicked a goal and sat in and played for the draw. It wasn't a great game for the spectator. It wasn't a great game for a Chelsea fan, but we're still top of the league. We move.
Cheers,
it's not a good result for us, but at the end of the day, it's a point, you know.
We played much better than them.
We battered them. Yeah. We battered them, but you know, we'll only get stronger. We'll only get stronger.
I'll tell you what, I thought we really played good against Juventus. I was expecting that we did the best today. Unfortunately, it wasn't what really felt, really. So I'm hoping that, you know, throughout the season we do very well.
I think we need Kanté back in the squad, to be honest.
I mean, all great points, really good points. Let's get to our knee-jerk reaction for today then, which it's more a question than a reaction as such. What do you say when a draw feels like a loss? Because it does a little bit, Pat, doesn't it? Those are the heights that we've hit recently, and like we said, you know, it's frustrating. It feels very similar, and this is going to feel like I'm being disrespectful. It feels very similar to the Burnley game, where we did enough to win the game. We dominated from start to finish. It's a similar game plan, you know, and it's smash and grab, like we said. It is a little bit. Isn't it?
But to be honest, over the years, there's been a lot of teams doing that. We went through a period where a lot of teams were doing that to us. I remember Southampton doing to us down here, and we weren't able to break teams down. But for me, we're still creating chances. We're still getting into good areas. I think that area where we're getting particularly Reece James. I mean, we do go on about Reece James, but he's still putting those balls in and putting them in, and we're not always getting there. But when Romelu come on, he's there. He's getting into that area. Now, they didn't reach him and one just went over his head. But it shows you the difference of an utter natural striker getting into those areas. So I have to say I'm not particularly downhearted. I'm disappointed we didn't win. I'm not downhearted. You're not going to win every game. There's going to be something that are difficult that you deserve to win and you don't win. But as long as you don't lose, you keep the run going, I'm not going to be downcast about this, and I'm not. I think the point there about N'Golo Kanté, I do think we miss it. Jorginho, when he's in there alongside Kova or Kanté, you know, they mesh with each other really, really well. And it's taken nothing away from Ruben, but they mesh well. There wasn't a meshing between the two of them, you know, today, and that was a real shame. Because although we did control large parts of the game and we did control in the midfield, we're very special in there usually. And today we were okay there.
It does feel like that, doesn't it, Sam? I suppose the reason we're sat here slightly disappointed is because of how good we've been recently and the bar that we've set recently. You know, we talk about Juventus, and even the fan mentioned it there about Juventus. Arguably, in my opinion, one of the best performances we've seen from Chelsea over the last couple of years. I thought we were sensational, but that's the kind of thing that we expect now on a game-by-game basis. We played Man United today, who have come in and tried to do a job on us. We've gone one down to a moment of, you know, of just sheer bad luck, potentially, you know, in that sort of sense. We've shown character to come back from it. We've got a point, and there was only one team that was going to go on and win it. So when you look at it all overall and you look at it on paper, it shows a lot that we've come from behind today against a team that weren't really engaging and were quite happy to sit and just not do anything with it.
Yeah, and we could have won it as well. And I think that takes a lot of... You can take a lot of pride from that. Like, I'm not really downhearted to that extent. I'm more annoyed because it's United, and it's always good to get one over on United fans, you know what I mean? But as a performance, with the players that we have out and the players that came in, I think we played very well. We didn't let... They had a period when the pressure was getting onto us when they scored, but then we saw out that period, and I think even with Lukaku coming on, he almost pushed them back, and it was good decision-making from Tuchel, because I almost had a sense, like they were saying on comms, that I didn't know if he was going to play because he didn't really warm up, but even his presence just pushed them back, and then it allowed us to have more opportunities during the game. But like we've said, once we do get certain players back in, we just have more options. Doesn't mean that Loftus-Cheek didn't do a good job. It just means that there's certain relationships that they're so used to. So, yeah, man, I'm not that downhearted, to be honest. No,
very fair, mate, very fair. Let's have a look at the game on social then, starting with a lot of Antonio Rudiger Thunderbolt chat. One day, one of those Rudiger long shots are going to score, and it's going to be beautiful. It will be, won't it? It really, really will be. Rudiger almost, well, it's when he smashed the crossbar in the first half. And look at the name. Has Rudiger taken a long shot yet? It's very true. I swear to God, I'll break something in excitement if one of those Rudiger long shots ever went in. It was so close.
It's getting closer.
So close, wasn't it? So close, especially because it was a good save from De Gea, that shot in the first half.
He's got to touch on it. He hits it. When he hits a ball, it stays hit. There is a rumour that his second shot, in the end, has landed. But we've heard from NASA. Because he's hit it. It's not that he's hit it too far over the bar. It's the fact he's hit it so hard that it's like, ping! So
he tried to get so much power in it.
It was leathered, you know, and he got it so clean. If he'd have mishit it, it's a goal.
Yeah,
absolutely. But you're right, he's getting into those positions just now, and if people back off, I mean, he has a leather at it, and you're right, it's going to happen for him because he's had enough of them. But getting into that position, and you know, almost scoring that one, that says something about the player he is becoming. He will drive out from the back, and he will get into those areas. But see if you have a look at that last chance. It's him that makes the tackle in his own box. We make the break, and he's at the back post. And what are you doing there? You know, it's incredible. You have no right to be there. It's not your position, but he's beaten everybody else to get there. It shows you the desire he has got in the dying minutes to do that for the club, and that's why we love him, and that's why the fans love him.
Yeah, such a big character, such a big figure in the dressing room, isn't he? Let's have a little look at this tweet as well about the smash and grab that happened today. Really poor that is, man. It was criminal for us to not score in the first half, and it was inevitable United would get a smash and grab. I suppose there is a bit of that, Sam, isn't there? We came in at half-time and we were a bit disappointed not to have taken the lead. But, again, like we've seen, it's one of those where I suppose 9 times out of 10, the touch is right from Jorginho. He gets it right and we play out, and it's not even a debate, you know. Fair play to Jadon Sancho and was it Marcus Rashford as well on closing down, because that's probably part of the game plan is you force a mistake and then you try and capitalise on that mistake. 9 times out of 10, Jorginho brings it down, we play out, we don't even look at that again. And if that moment doesn't happen, you know, there was another one towards the end where Edu Mendy gives the ball to Fred where he could have potentially chipped him. But it's kind of, I suppose, it's a little bit easier to take in that aspect because you go, they're instances that happen on the day. They're not going to happen again. They're not, it's not like a poor corner routine where someone's lost a man or, we've been hit on the counter where there's 3 or 4 players that are out of position. It's just one of those freak incidents that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you can't really be too down about it, because, like you said, we're not used to seeing mistakes happen every week and players being out of position and things like that, and Mendy not being able to find Rudiger out wide. Like, another team, another game. If that was Ronaldo, we saw him do it in midweek. That he can lob the keeper. We're lucky that it landed 2 threads. So if we're making those mistakes in this game, I know Tuchel's going to say, yeah, the draw's not a great result. You could see it at the full time. Rudiger was gutted. A lot of the players were gutted. That's the type of mentality you'd want. You want them to feel like a draw is a loss, because, like we've seen in a lot of the interviews, we saw Mount speaking earlier, we want the Premier League and we want to win it. We haven't won it in a while, and that's one trophy that we want. So I think with that performance, I don't think Tuchel's going to be too upset. Similar to the Burnley one, it's not like we played bad. It's just a mistake happened. We move on.
I completely agree. And I suppose there is a bit as well, Pat. We spoke after the Burnley game about potentially the disappointment from not taking your chances. And when you dominate a game as such and you don't come away with 3 points, there's obviously things you're going to look at and go, OK, where can we improve? Where can we go from? This was the tough week, wasn't it? Leicester, Juventus, Manchester United. We've come out of it 7 out of the 9 points available. We've played brilliantly in 2 of them. We've played well today and not been able to get it. Watford in the week. How do you think Thomas Tuchel will look at that in terms of, is it an aspect of Lukaku's fit? Maybe it's more of a specific personnel change, or is it system? What do you think it is?
The system won't change greatly, although we did go from 3 to 4 at the back quite a few times today. Jason spotted that really quite quickly. I think he looks at his bench and he thinks, right, Mason's showing again. I'm there, I'm ready. Give me a chance. He knows that Kai's there again. He knows that he's got Werner. He knows that he's got Pulisic. He knows he's got Romelu. He's just looking back thinking, right, I had to go over that little phase there. It's not been terrible. We've got enough players back. He'll also know the psychology was strange today. See, if we'd have scored the first goal, which we deserved to score, I think Man United fold.
Yeah.
I honestly think they fold. I think we go 3-4 because they were out of it. They looked tired. And because they got that goal from doing nothing themselves, they all got a lift and they got 20 minutes against us. And that got them the point more than anything else. So I'm not getting at all worried about Thomas. And Thomas will say, no, I've got enough firepower. It's fine. The other thing is, you take it the team in groups. Back 3. Did they make a mistake?
No.
Done nothing wrong. Were they broken through? No. They never looked like losing a goal, never looked like losing a chance. So Thiago Silva, he'll look to his right and say, Chalobah does great. He'll look to his left, Tony's, when he's in his place and trying to score goals, he's done brilliantly again. And you're thinking to yourself, what's there to worry about? We're not giving anything away. It was a weird one. So changing anything? Not massively. Personnel? Maybe. Has to have a little bit of a look at the midfield, see, because away from home it's more difficult. But again, that's why we're fed up we didn't win, but we're not gutted. See if they came down and done us, like when Man City done us down here.
Yeah.
We were gutted. We were gutted, and we were right to be gutted. But it wasn't like that. This is a team that sneaked a draw against us. Nothing more.
Completely agree. Let's have a little look at the reaction to the penalty that Jorginho scored to get the point for Chelsea this afternoon. And it was one of those ice-cold Jorginho redemption. Yeah, very true. Again, perfect man to step up and take it. A lot of character as well, because
100%, yeah.
He's got to do that. I mean, this exactly says it. Full marks to him for keeping his nerves after the mistake and redeeming himself. Now is your chance. Come on, boys. It did look like we were going to go on and get something else from it as well. That's what champion players do. They make up for their mistakes. That's exactly what you want from a captain or a leader, isn't it, Sam? To show that leadership and to say, do you know what? I've made the mistake, but I'm going to step up. I'm not going to shy away from I suppose, the responsibility.
Yeah, and the mistake was so unlike him. Like, no Chelsea fan can say that they're used to Jorginho making those type of mistakes. But one thing I did really like as well is that he was still getting in those pockets. He was still dealing with the pressures, because United, like Pat said, they had a bump and they were on us for a good 20 minutes, but he was still getting in those positions. And even with the penalty, I was very nervous. I was very nervous if he was going to do the hop, he was going to go down the middle. We saw De Gea save 2 penalties last week as well. So all of these psychological things. But he's just proven why he's on shortlist for the Ballon d'Or, why he's won awards. Is because he's got the nerves of steel and he backs himself in those positions.
Completely agree. Let's have a little look at our overreaction tweet of the day then, which is this one. Rudiger is literally so close to scoring the greatest goal in the history of our club. Pat, you made the point about it not landing yet. I think there was only two things that were ever going. Well, there was only three things that were ever going to happen. One, it was going to go in the roof of the net, and you were going to talk about it being the best goal ever. Two, it was going to end up where it ended up, which is probably on the train line. Or thirdly, it was going to pop as soon as he made contact because he hit it so hard right at the end there, didn't he?
Do you know when they talk about football, he's roofed that one.
Yeah.
He's either going to roof it in the net or roof it in the roof of the stadium. It's one of the two. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. It sounds easy. He was actually at an angle. He took it on the volley. It's one of those ones, see if he does catch it right, because De Gea's not saving that.
It's almost identical to the Juan Mata goal you picked for show and tell before the game, isn't it?
You ping it right and everyone goes, you're amazing. You get it a fraction off, and it is the tiniest little fractions off, and it just goes miles over, and people gutted. He was gutted himself because he knows that he's got it in him. But I watched it. If I could go back slightly to the Jorginho thing, I will admit, and hands up now, and I'm going to get all biblical on you now. Oh, me of little faith. You know what I am like with Jorginho. I always trusted him, and for the first time I thought, oh, I don't know, I think I might want Reece to come in and just leather this one, because he has missed a couple. There was the very famous one in the Euros, and then there's been a recent one for the Italian team that would have got them through straight to the World Cup. So he not only had all the pressures you've mentioned there, Sam, he had the pressures of what's in his mind, what's happened with Italy. And he still can do it. So my hat's off to him.
No, you're absolutely right. That's the character that you want here at Chelsea, isn't it? Speaking of characters, here is one speaking to Ben Andrews. Thomas Tuchel is pitched up.
Thomas, is that it's only a point, or is that, well, we're behind, we got a point? What do you think?
No, it's only a point today, but also not. We're not too harsh with the boys, because we created. We played with a high rhythm. We played high intensity. We had so many ball recoveries in the opponent's pitch. We created some big chances. We did not take them, and suddenly things got a bit more complicated because of this one mistake we did. But there was never a chance normally to concede a goal because we were so disciplined and so hungry. So I'm absolutely pleased with the performance. Should have been a clear win for us.
What did you start about the shape? It looked almost like Reece wasn't playing quite like he normally does, almost more like a four at the back. Was that just something that happened?
Yeah, we don't need five. The opponents had only three. The opponents had only three strikers. We don't need 5 against 3.
Right, okay, fair enough. In terms of the point, obviously City have won, Liverpool have won. You're going to Watford now. We've got a bit of Lukaku there. How's he reacted? Okay.
I think so. It was like 10 minutes for him to increase the presence in the box a little bit and the threat from through the middle. Maybe for a lucky punch in the end. Yeah, but of course you drop points when you draw. But this is nothing new. We're still there's nothing to worry. We don't focus on these things. Can happen in football. We focus on our performances and to shape our identity. I'm very happy with what I saw today and how the team played. These things happen, unfortunately, in football sometimes, and then it feels like we dropped 2 points because we did by far enough to win the game.
And just finally on Hakim Ziyech, it felt to us up there today that he put more in today than we can remember seeing this season. He's had quite a few starts. Were you pleased with his performance?
Yes, very pleased. He played with a fantastic energy and a huge effort. Unfortunately, yeah, he could not create another big chance or be decisive with an assist or a goal, but it was a very good game. I felt him more free now and totally involved, and he feels good, he is confident, and it's good for us.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
The brilliant manager, Thomas Tuchel. He was getting quite animated on the touchline towards the end. We're not going to sit here and hammer the officials, but it was a clear offside decision that was missed, and Thomas Tuchel was not very happy about it. A couple of minutes from the end there, sir.
I just don't get how they have someone in their ear telling them if it's offside, right? Because they can make the call later. So if that is the case, then you should make that call, because if they go on and score from that corner, it's just going to be another agenda. Anthony Taylor, his officials, they're doing this against Chelsea when it doesn't need to be that. It was so clear, everyone can see it from every angle, and Tuchel's obviously frustrated. To be honest, I can understand why he got the yellow, because he was in his face. But it's frustrating, especially a game of this importance. If that goes against you, you're going to be gutted.
Well, that's exactly it, Pat, isn't it? You love to see the passion from the manager on the touchline when something like that does happen, because it was a poor decision. I think overall they probably had quite a good game. In fairness, the officials today, it was a couple, but again, I think overall they've done fairly well. But it's decisions like that with a couple of minutes left, and then all of a sudden it's a corner to Man United from an offside where otherwise Chelsea got a free kick pretty much on the halfway line, and then you're loading into Man United's box with 3 or 4 to go.
It's just the frustration, because they get an injury just before the end of the game. McTominay gets smacked in the face, right? So we've got that 5 minutes we want to use. We're going to build up some steam. But he gets that injury, and then they put up the 5-minute board, and you think, well, wait a minute, he's not up yet.
Yeah.
So that's going to kill a minute or two of it. And then the game never really started again. It was start, stop. And then they make that bad decision. And then that kills another 2 minutes where we get... So that real big, high-tempo ending that we were expecting, that Thomas was expecting, was cut out by the officials not getting it right. And to be fair, and that sounds harsh, because everyone can make a mistake, but linesman or assistant referee, that's your only job. That's it.
Honestly.
That's your job, mate. You're being employed to do one thing. And see, when it's that clear, kind of should see it. Because we're sitting there, I'm sitting there with Jason and Ben, but Jason and I going, oh no, it's offside, the flag.
Yeah, we
half looked away at that point in time. So it was that ridiculous and that awful. By the way, happy at the last words there about Ziyech. Honestly, he wasn't brilliant on the ball today, but he's playing now at the tempo you have to play for Chelsea Football Club. And he hadn't done that before. You've added something now. You've got a chance now. Whereas before that, Mason will outrun you. Callum's going to outrun you. We need that high tempo. Hakim, you're in the gang.
Completely agree. Yeah, he put in a real shift today, done really well. Let's have a little look at some reaction cam footage of me and Sam getting a little bit overworked in the studio. I think that's the when he hits the crossbar in the first half.
I wanted that to go in so bad.
This is all, you do forget. You forget the camera's on you. In fairness, I don't know which one this is.
That was the end.
That was the one at the end. That was the Rudiger chance at the end. Oh dear!
Good.
And I didn't move from there until full time.
I'm not sure I can tell you what Jason done then.
Have you got bruises? Sure. Do we need to talk about this off air?
Yes, we do, and we also need to order a new microphone, please.
I tell you, there is definitely a series in there somewhere of Jason Cundy Uncovered, where you're seeing all up into the gantry. Because I'm not surprised you're covered in bruises. Yourself and Ben, you've put in a lot. It's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those today. You're disappointed you don't get the 3 points, but again, we're in such a fine vein of form. It maybe is a little bit of a check to go, OK, but, you don't win anything in November, you don't win anything in December, we have to go again now. We've got a fairly good run now for the next couple of weeks. Games are thick and fast, but, Watford coming up, then we've got West Ham, which is going to be tough, but they've had a poor result today against Manchester City. Then you've got Everton, Wolves coming up over Christmas, Brentford in the Carabao Cup. So it's quite a favourable run now to go on and continue and extend. Yeah,
and I think the team, they've showed us this season, when they get a result that they wasn't expecting, like today, they just keep going. It's not we dwell on this performance. Like we've said, the performance wasn't a bad performance. It's not like there was players that you can question going into next games and say, Tuchel, they shouldn't be playing. It's not that at all. So we're just hoping some of the players that have been injured, hopefully Kanté it's not as serious, so he can come back into the squad and add more competition. But other than that, I'm not worried going into these games.
No, completely agree. Plenty of football coming up, as we said. Let's have a little look at what we've got on the fifth stand up for you this week. Obviously, it's going to be a big one Wednesday, 6:30. Join us for Matchday Live. Chelsea away to Watford. Claudio Ranieri's Watford as well, of course, which is going to be an interesting one. Then on Friday, Thomas Tuchel's press conference in the afternoon ahead of West Ham and Chelsea. Friday at 5 to 7 in the evening, Chelsea derby in the PL2 live on the fifth stand up as well. And then, of course, we'll be back on Saturday for the Saturday game. So, Pat, it's going to be a busy period now. Do you think, Thomas Tuchel saying there, it's a point to point, so we'll take it and we move on from there?
We've got to dig in there. December's dig-in time. There's a lot of games, yourself. There's every single... The The games are like me flying down here from Scotland. They're coming thick and fast, right? So you have to make sure that you're up for every single game. And we started right at the start of this saying, what we have to do is use the entirety of the squad and make sure they're all available. Kai's back, Romelo's there. We've got Timo, we've got Pulisic coming back. We've got enough. Keep everybody as fit as we possibly can. Others and other teams will start falling by the wayside. I look forward to that.
Absolutely right. Boys, sensational as always. Sam, Pat, thank you very much for your company. Unfortunately, it wasn't 3 points for Chelsea today, but they do extend their stay at the top of the table by a point, and you never know. A couple more, and we'll be top at Christmas. We'll take that. Thank you for watching.